right. Doing the roast chicken / roast Cornish game hens today. Super easy, super simple way, and honestly pretty affordable, especially if you're doing like those whole chickens that you can get on sale. So
yum. I'm pulling up comments right now. If y'all can hear us and see us, just comment down below.
Yes, let us know you're here.
Hit the like, hit the share. All right.
Absolutely.
I think we're on.
All right.
Woo woo.
Very cool.
Awesome. We got Rand Can Cook in the house.
There's Randy. How are you, man?
Yeah. Let's see. 22Q Cat.
Lynn, hello.
Awesome. We got Bonita. Hello, everyone. Great to be here for the live.
Yeah, we're glad you're here.
Awesome. Addicted to Antlers says hello from Las Cruces, New Mexico.
All right. Good to see you.
Tanya says, my first live.
Hello, Tanya. We're so glad you're here.
Yeah. Kathy Hurst says, I'm baking chicken thighs as we view here. I'm glad for new recipes.
All right. Well, this is going to be another good one for you, chicken-wise. If you enjoy your chicken, this is a good one.
Yeah. Marcy Nab. Hey, Chris and Ash. Marcy from Delaware.
Hello, Marcy.
We have Southern Keto in the house.
There's Victor. How are you, man?
He says, hi from cold and rainy South Carolina.
Oh, I hear that.
Awesome. Yeah. We got all kinds of people watching. So
awesome. Well, yeah, guys, let us know where you're watching from. Put it in the comments down below where you are. And make sure to hit that like button that's down below where all of the live chat stuff is and everything at the bottom of the video. You can share this to your favorite social media platform if you don't mind. Just let people know we're here, or you can text it to somebody or whatever it is you like to do just to communicate with people that we're here, because we do this every week, this Backstage with Chris live cooking. And I think it's actually funny, I did a live stream Q&A session with Anita from Ketogenic Woman just this past Sunday, and she was talking about how she was like, I'm really impressed that you actually do cooking on your channel live like this, because so many recipe creators, even myself included, from a lot of these recipe videos we do, we rely on the editing and the ability to go do multiple things over so that we can, you know, get it just right for you guys in the video. So it's really something when you try to do it all live. So we have a lot of fun here. Just let us know what you guys think. And if you have questions, Ash is reading the comments section. We'll get to as many of those as we can as we're doing this. But while you guys are tuning in and while you're hopefully dropping some questions or saying hello to us down there, I'm gonna start my air fryer preheating at its maximum temperature, because we're gonna use an air fryer. You can do this with an oven. There's different ways of doing this, but I'm gonna use an air fryer tonight just to make this easy for us. I also think the air fryer is the best way. So I'm just gonna preheat this at the maximum temperature for 4 minutes.
Awesome. Keto Simple is on and just wanted to say hello.
Hello.
We got people watching from Michigan, Colorado, all kinds of folks.
All right. I'm so glad you guys are here.
Yeah.
Super, super cool. All right. So while the air fryer is preheating, I'm going to go ahead and get a couple of things ready here. So what I have in front of me is 2 Cornish game hens. They're kind of like little miniature chickens. I think it's really cool to do the Cornish game hens because each person kind of gets their own little individual bird on the plate. But you can do exactly what I'm about to do with a full-size chicken. The cooking time might take just a little bit more, so you'll probably want to get something like an instant read thermometer just to check. If you're going to do a whole chicken, you'll want to check inside the thigh meat down against the bone and make sure that that gets to 165, maybe a couple of degrees below 165, because it'll carry over cook and it'll up a few more degrees, but you want to get that to about 165 on the thigh to make sure that that chicken will be cooked. But this technique works the exact same with the chicken as it does with these Cornish game hens. I just find these a little easier for us and we really enjoy them. So in the mortar and pestle here, I have some rosemary. I'm going to make a rosemary salt that I'm going to use to season these as well. And then I have some other goodies over here on the cutting board. I'll kind of show you what we're doing. So the Cornish game hens, I salted the skin on both sides. This has been probably an hour and a half ago now. And I've just been letting them sit here on this rack and they're draining. That salt is also penetrating into the meat and the skin. It's pulling out the extra moisture. We're gonna dry those off in a minute and that'll help us get a crispy skin. So if you guys have questions, let me know. I'm gonna start grinding up this rosemary to make a rosemary salt.
awesome. For starters, Rand Can Cook gave you a $10 super thanks.
Oh my gosh, Randy, you, sir, are just a gentleman among gentlemen, and we really appreciate your support, and we appreciate things like those super chats and super thanks and stickers and all this stuff. It just helps us keep this channel running and do what we do, and we don't expect it, but we really appreciate it when we get it. You guys are just the greatest.
Yes, absolutely. Also, a lot of people are commenting that they got your chat with Anita.
Yeah.
And just how much they enjoyed it.
Well, I'm so glad you guys enjoyed it. I love Anita. She is not only a wonderful woman, but she is the one who gave me kind of my kickstart here on YouTube by featuring a recipe of mine when I had nothing going on. She's such a sweet lady, and I just love her to death. So major props to her. If you're one of my people here who doesn't know who Anita is over at Ketogenic Woman, you got to go check her out because she's incredible. She's got great stuff.
Absolutely.
Okay, there's my ground up rosemary, and I'm going to add some salt in there as well. And as you guys know, my live streams here, these aren't really like written out recipes. These are just some ideas for you. So there's not real measurements here. I can kind of estimate them, but not specific measurements. I'm just sort of cooking by instinct on the fly here for you guys. And this is something I encourage you to learn to do in the kitchen because it just frees you up to be able to do so much more to learn this. So I'm just gonna grind that salt in there with the rosemary. It's gonna make a really nice powdery rosemary salt that's gonna stick to this chicken, or in this case, game hens really well. Rosemary and poultry is so good together.
Also, babe, Lori L has a great question. What brand of air fryer are you using?
Yeah, so I have a Kosori. This is one they actually sent to me to do a review of. I did a chicken wing recipe with it, if you guys haven't seen that. This is a Kosori. They make fantastic air fryers. I'm looking at maybe another company that I might be testing out as well, but this Kosori does a really, really great job, and I like the preheat function. It also has a shake button on it, which I'm going to show you guys when we get there. So,
awesome.
Yeah, I really love the Kosori. I actually have this air fryer linked in the description box down below, so if you're looking to get yourself an air fryer, my link is right there for you.
Awesome.
Okay, now I'm gonna take a paper towel. I'm just gonna dry off these Cornish game hens to get as much of that moisture off as I can, because that's gonna help us with the crispiness of the skin.
Awesome. Moderation is a Myth has a question.
Yeah.
Caught your no carbies video. Any sauce suggestions? Substitution, or is the cheese sauce just perfection, so no sauce is needed? Thanks for the great recipes.
Yeah, you know, honestly, like the way I ate it was just the cheese sauce. I didn't find I needed anything else. Being beef, you could do something like a mayo. You could use like my butter mayo. That would be really good on there. There's a whole bunch of different sauces you could do. You could make my butter mayo ranch. That would be really good on there. For Ash, I actually made a keto version of the Arby's sauce, which is like a barbecue style thing. I'm probably going to do that for my Patreon group as a special recipe that I put in there. But any kind of like a keto barbecue would be really great on that. There's hundreds of recipes for that kind of stuff all over YouTube. Any of that kind of stuff would be a great way to do it. If you're looking for something just pure carnivore, you could also make like my gravy. I have a turkey gravy recipe, but you could use beef broth in that instead of like a poultry base, and you could put like a gravy on it, make it a gravy based kind of a thing. That'd be really good too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Tawny says, I love my Kosori. I've had it since 2019, still use it almost daily.
Yeah, they're really, really great machines. Kosori is a really cool company, and they have really great stuff. So, yeah. Okay, so that is patted dry. Now I'm going to show you guys how to spatchcock a bird, and Ash is probably going to start giggling here in a minute because she thinks that word is so funny.
It's very funny.
Yeah, so what we're basically going to do is we're going to spatchcock the bird because it cooks more evenly. It's easier to work with that way. So all spatchcocking is we're going to take the spine right here out of the back of the bird. We're going to open it up. It opens up the cavity. It's going to let it cook a lot more evenly, and then we're going to use those spines to create our sauce. So I've got a little bowl here that has the neck and the giblet type stuff. It was the only one of these had a bag in it, but that comes with it in case you want it. That's what people normally make gravy out of. I'm going to put these spines in there with it. So to do this, all you need to do is come in here to the top of the cavity. You can really do it from either end, but I think the top is easiest. So here's the neck and the spine area. And I'm going to take a nice pair of kitchen shears. Get yourself one of these if you don't have them. And we're just going to go down both sides of the spine, and we're going to cut this free. And you want to stay as close to the spine as you can. just so you don't end up cutting into like the thigh meat or any of that kind of stuff. And we're just gonna cut down both sides. And there's some little bones you're gonna cut through, so. And there we go. There is the spine from that one. And we're gonna do the exact same thing to this one here.
Denise says, I spatchcocked a turkey one year for Thanksgiving.
Oh, it's a great technique. Any kind of poultry like that, it just makes it, honestly, it makes your job a lot easier to get the spine out of the way and open up the cavities. It makes it cook a lot more evenly. It cooks faster as well. And I think we just get superior results doing it this way. Okay, so both spines come out. Now I'm just going to open up the bird like so. So there's the inside of the cavity, and then see, I can come in here and there's like this just big old hunk of just kind of just weird fat right here that I'm just gonna kind of trim off because that doesn't need to go into the air fryer, that'll burn. Okay, so there's our cavity. It's all nice and cleaned out, looks good. And then I'm gonna do the second one here. It has some little remnants of like the organ meats and stuff in it, so I'm gonna cut those out because those will go in our sauce that we're gonna make here in a minute too. Yeah, so we can just cut that stuff out. And then this is another place that I always look, come down here at the bottom, and you'll see that there's kind of this little tail-shaped bit. Sometimes there's big hunks of fat, like see there's another one. There can be big hunks of fat down here at the bottom, and that can burn and kind of make it smoky and not necessarily the greatest flavor. So sometimes I'll come in here and just trim a little of that extra fat and skin off, and that'll go into the sauce because I don't have to worry about it burning in that. Okay, so there's the cavities opened up. I'm gonna wash my hands really quickly because we don't want poultry juice all over everything. And then I'm gonna show you how we season these up and get them ready. And I've been talking so much, I'm gonna go ahead and hit another preheat cycle on my air fryer just to make sure it's really, really nice and hot because I want it to sizzle a little bit when I put the birds in there because that's gonna start helping crisp up the skin. I'll show you how we do that in a minute. Okay, so we're gonna get that going. We're coming over here. We're going to take our rosemary salt in a minute, and I'm gonna take bacon grease. You can do this with any animal fat, but we're gonna do bacon grease. And I've got a whole bunch of bacon grease here. I'm going to use some of this to make the sauce, and then I'm gonna use some of it here. So on the inside of the cavity, we don't really need the bacon grease. It's not gonna do anything. So we're just gonna take on the inside of the cavity and put a nice little sprinkle of this rosemary salt. You're not gonna eat a lot of meat coming from the inside, but by doing a little bit of a season on the inside of the cavity, it does help perfume the bird all the way through. And this is the backside of the thighs and the legs, and it just kind of helps that taste really nice as well. So always put just a little sprinkle of seasoning in your cavities.
Awesome. Southern Keto is cracking me up. He says, keep it G-rated, folks.
That's right. That's right.
I guess we're more like PG, but
that's right.
Whatever.
That's right. That's right. Well, around here, I don't know that it's either one of those things, but you know.
Yeah.
All right. So now we're going to flip the birds over, and I've got the cavities facing downward. Okay. And you can kind of take the legs and sort of splay them out like that so they kind of flare out. It makes this a little bit easier. And then we're going to take bacon grease, and we're going to paint bacon grease all over the skin of everything that we're going to be eating.
I like the way this is going.
Yeah, bacon grease is always a good thing.
Yeah.
It's not only good, but it's good for you. Eat your bacon, it'll make your pants fall off.
Johnny Lee says, Wes featured your carnivore mashed taters and was amazed.
Yes, Wes is such a great guy, and when he did that recipe review, it was one of the first recipe reviews I got from like a big name creator like that. And I was how elated was I when he did that.
Very excited.
We woke up and one of my followers was like, "Oh my gosh, Wes did your mashed potatoes," and I went and checked it out, and I was like, "No way, not Wes." And I was like, "Yeah, like Wes." It was super, super cool. He's such a cool guy. Very, very nice. Very nice man.
22Q Cat says, I see your new sous vide on the counter too. Great piece of equipment, but I don't have 1 extra inch on my counter for anything else. Do you want to talk about the video?
Yeah. If you guys haven't seen it, I did a no carbies beef and cheddar sandwich. So if you like the Arby's beef and cheddar, I did the no carb version knockoff of it, and it was unbelievably good. And it's done with a sous vide machine, specifically that one right over there, which is from Tyfer. Tyfer makes a amazing sous vide, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it is not the cheapest meat thing on the market. Like it is a premium machine, and it costs a premium price. And if you can't afford that, that's cool. I totally get that. You know, there's others out there you can get that are cheaper, but I will say I've used a bunch of different sous vides, and this one definitely does the best job by far. And I think Ash agrees with me, having been the person who eats all of my sous vide creations. But that Arby's video is absolutely amazing, and I do have a discount code, and they're doing a sale right now. So if you are interested in investing in a really nice sous vide machine, that video will tell you all about it. And right now they're doing a sale, but you can then use my discount code on top of it, and you can get a great deal. So
yeah, that
very cool.
That sous vide definitely works incredibly well.
It really is amazing.
There's a big difference.
Also, a sous vide is pretty much the lowest effort way you'll ever cook anything. Like it literally cooks while you're sleeping. So
yeah. Janice says, I want Arby's sauce.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is the bacon fat all over our game hens. Now, we're gonna take that rosemary salt and we're gonna put a nice coating of that on the outside here. This is gonna flavor up the skin beautifully. You might be able to hear my Kosorias beeping at me to let me know it's preheated. It's good timing. Okay, and I ground this rosemary and the salt together to make this powdery seasoning, because this is gonna stick to the skin much, much better. And it's gonna help, again, as it's frying, draw out that extra moisture, which is gonna make this nice and brown and crispy along with that bacon fat on there.
Yum. Rankin Cook wants to know, Chris, do you do a brine for chicken?
So sometimes, I did not do this today as a brine, but I do sometimes brine chicken. If I brine chicken, I prefer a wet brine. Dry brine is what I do with beef, where I salt it and I let it sit uncovered and just in the fridge, let it dry out, let it do its thing. That's really cool and it tastes amazing. But for chicken, I actually prefer a wet brine. I think I get a better result from that. So essentially what I would do if I was doing a brine is I would make a saltwater solution, and I always kind of go with the idea that you want it to be about as salty as the ocean. So make it kind of seawater tasting level of salt, and put your chicken in it. Make sure the chicken is submerged in it. Stick it in the refrigerator, and you can go for a few hours, but I think it's better if you go for up to 24, maybe even to 36. I think it just does a better job that way.
Cool.
Okay, so there's the rosemary salt on our birds. And we're just gonna put a little bit of black pepper on it as well. Don't need to go super crazy because we're gonna have a sauce with it, but just a little fresh black pepper. Doesn't have to be a lot, just enough to perfume. All right, we're gonna head over to the sous vide. Not the sous vide, the air fryer. Talking about sous vides, I'm forgetting which gear I'm using today. All right, so air fryer is preheated. So we're just gonna set this here. Now, because these are spatchcocked, they're gonna be a little bit easier to work in, but they also kind of take up some space. We're gonna put these in breast side down. So I'm gonna take them this way and drop them in breast side down. And I don't know if you can hear it or not, but that is sizzling just a little bit.
I'm just going to come around and get a shot of these in
Yep.
here, just so people can see.
Absolutely. So. Be careful not to burn yourself. But so there we go. Breast side down. You kind of squeeze them in there. All is well. And then get the bacon grease off my hands so I don't get it all over the outside of the air fryer. And then these are going to go back in. And this is why this is so easy. So that goes in, pull that forward a little bit, turn that on. We're gonna put these on 390 24 minutes, and then you press that shake button, and halfway through it's going to beep at me to tell me to take them out, and I'm going to flip them over for the second half.
Awesome.
Okay, now while that's going, now we have time to make the sauce, and this is where we get into kind of classic cooking technique and all this stuff, because we have these beautiful little bits here of the bird. Now, nobody really, for the most part, wants to sit and chew on like fat and gristly things, or they don't want to chew on the gizzard or the livers a lot of times, or any of that stuff. The livers are super good for you, but you know, no one wants to sit and kind of crunch a lot of this stuff down. But there's a lot of nutrition in this, and there's also a lot of flavor. So how do we get it out? Classically, chefs would use this to create sauces and gravies and that kind of stuff. Fortunately, in modern day cooking, nobody does any of that anymore, and now major food corporations have decided that gravy should come in a canister and a powder, and you should pour it out and mix water with it, and there's your gravy. And that is bull. We don't do any of that, not around here. So we're gonna take this, we're gonna get all of the great nutrition from the bones and the connective bits and all this, and the longer you cook this, the better it's gonna be. We're gonna do a quick version, but if you cook it even longer than I do, it's even better. So I've got my bits right here, I've got my bacon grease, I have a few cloves of garlic in here I'm gonna chop up. I have a little bit of chicken broth, just like a chicken bone broth here, and then if you wanna go a little more ketovore, I have about a half of a teaspoon, maybe 3/4 of a teaspoon of tomato paste. You don't have to use this, but it is really nice. And then I have just a little bit of about a 1/4 teaspoon of anchovy paste all smashed up in there, and that is gonna get in with the sauce. And then I'm gonna use just a little bit of this rosemary salt so that the sauce has a little bit of that rosemary perfume, the same as our spatchcock birds, okay? So we're gonna come over here. I've got a pan preheating, and we're gonna start working on some sauce, and if you guys have questions, you let me know.
Awesome. Carol 32547 says bacon fat and rosemary salt doesn't get much better. Yum.
Nope, that's a great combo.
Yep. Says I grow rosemary and love to place a fresh sprig in the grill when making chicken.
Oh, it's so good. Rosemary and bird, just the greatest.
Bacon.
And yeah, and bacon.
Bacon.
And bacon. Oh, already smells good. Smells like bacon.
Yeah. Kathy Hirsch says, I've never watched you before. You're pure like a Julia Child of the carnivore world. Bon appetit.
Thank you. I'll take that compliment all day long, because Julia Child, that lady was bomb. I mean, she was so intentional and so studied about French cuisine. Her technique was incredible. And here's the other thing. She was really real. Like, she did cooking shows when nobody was doing cooking shows, and she'd mess up on TV all the time doing her stuff, and she'd have things that wouldn't work, and she'd be like, oh, well, she would just go with it. Like, it was just the coolest thing. She was just such a cool lady. I wish, oh man, it would have been such a pleasure to meet her, or maybe even get to cook with her, but her stuff was just so great. Her recipes are incredible too. So that is a high compliment to compare me to her. Thank you. I have bacon fat. It is getting hot. Now all these pieces go in. We're gonna brown them. If it does not sizzle, get it back out of the pan.
Some folks are talking about Butter Bob, saying that he was really fun to watch, and that he used to say butter would make your pants fall off.
Ah, that's super cool.
I've never heard of him, but we should check him out.
I feel like I've heard that name, but I don't know anything about Butter Bob, so I'll have to definitely go check him out.
Sweet. We have lots of people too that are just now tuning in. Can
Yeah.
we just go over what it is we're making tonight?
Absolutely. We have spatchcocked game hens, Cornish game hens in the air fryer. You can do the same technique with a chicken if you want to do like a roast chicken instead. And I'm making a sauce that's going to go with it that can be done keto, ketovore, or carnivore, depending on what you put in it. And we're going to use the bits of it that we cut off to show you how to make a true French style chicken sauce, or like a chicken jus, basically, a thickened chicken jus to go along with this. And this is the thing, guys, you elevate your meals with little things like this. You don't have to do crazy things to make your stuff elevated, just little tiny things like this. It's just a little something extra, but man, does it make a difference. I mean, ask my wife, she'll tell you.
It does.
When I do this kind of stuff, like, it just takes the already amazing recipe over the top.
Eric Jean says, Chris, do you incorporate any intermittent fasting in your carnivore diet?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I do, but I don't necessarily force myself to do it. Generally speaking, when I'm eating carnivore, I tend to eat one meal a day, 4 to 5 days a week. Excuse me. That's just kind of natural for me because I'm just not hungry. And if I'm not hungry, I don't eat. And if I am hungry, I go ahead and eat. So a lot of times I go to work and I will not take any food with me. I'll work all day and then I'll come home and the first thing I'll do is start working on dinner when I get home, and then that's the first thing I eat that day.
What are you drinking there?
I got a orange salty packet in here. If you guys have not tried them, Salty by Keto Chow. My opinion, the best electrolytes on the market. I know some other people like some competitors. That's cool. I went without these for a while. Ash and I did, and both of us felt terrible. Now that we have them again, we feel much better again. So of all the ones I've tried, they're the ones that make me feel the best. Okay, so we're getting this brown color on here. That's going to be pure flavor. So we want to brown all of these bits up with this bacon grease, because we're starting to build various layers of flavor within the sauce. We start with the fat and the proteins that we're browning. We're getting that Maillard reaction where we're caramelizing the meat and the things within the meat. That's going to create pure flavor, and then we're going to turn that into a sauce.
Awesome. Happy Ferret says, made your burger buns awesome. I can confirm they freeze and defrost exceptionally well. Oh,
thank you so much. I'm so glad that you enjoy that recipe. I love that recipe. And I know I've had a few people ask like, hey, mine fall when I open the oven or when I try to take them out. That does happen a little bit, and there's a lot of variables when it comes to baking that can affect that. If you're struggling keeping them from falling too much, add a little bit of egg white powder, like an extra half of a tablespoon to 1 tablespoon, in with your liquid egg whites. Whip the egg whites with the egg white powder, and that will help stabilize them. And then you can also increase your cooking time 3 to 5 minutes. And you can increase your resting time with the oven cracked open, 3 to 5 minutes as well. Also, make sure your oven is not too far open, because if it's too far open and it cools down too fast, that will cause it to shrink. Yeah.
Janice says, orange salty is my favorite with seltzer water. It is delicious.
I absolutely love, I like all the flavors, but the orange and the berry and the mango, I would say, are probably my 3 favorites. And then that's closely followed by the lemon lime. So it's good stuff, y'all. I love it.
Awesome. Casada M says, first time on the live stream.
Hello.
I really like your recipes. Making your burger patties right now. A couple weeks ago you did a basil chicken, and I was looking forward to that pasta recipe. Share it soon. Do you want to tell them the good news?
Yes, the good news is, if you guys have watched my live streams before, you will probably know I did a basil garlic cream chicken and shrimp on pasta, and I said it was my new pasta recipe. That new pasta recipe video is coming this Saturday. So you have, see, today's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You got 4 days, and that'll be dropping at 9 a.m. Saturday morning. So the new pasta recipe is on the way, and how good is it?
It's so good. So good.
We just had it last night.
Yeah, we just had it last night. It was super good. I know Victor from Southern Keto is watching too.
Yeah.
And he sent us some marinara sauce, and we put it there in the video.
Yep.
It with Chris's pasta, and it was so good.
It was unbelievable. If you guys have not checked out Victor at Southern Keto, go on YouTube, type in Southern Keto, and you're going to find him. His logo is like purple with yellow lettering, and he has some great keto recipes, and he's just a good dude. He just deserves people to pay attention to what he's doing, because we need good people like him in this space, and he and I have become friends and done some work together. We did a manicotti video where the two of us did that together. So if you guys haven't seen that stuff, go check it out, and go check out Victor. He's a cool guy.
Yeah. Janelle says, yes, another pasta try, although I thought the other ones were good. I can tell you, I thought they were good too. This one is definitely better. Definitely better.
I think this one's awesome. Okay, our chicken is browned enough. I'm going to go ahead and move it off to the side. And I'm going to grab here my tomato paste and that anchovy paste that I had. And what I'm going to do is put this all over here in the bacon fat, and I'm going to fry it off just a little bit. That takes the kind of raw flavor out of it. Makes it really, really nice. A longer spatula here so I don't get splattered quite as much. It's the only problem using baking pad is it does splatter at you a little bit, but it'll be all right. Okay, so we're gonna fry off the anchovy paste and the tomato paste there. It just starts to caramelize it a little bit. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put in my chicken broth. It's gonna deglaze the pan. So we're gonna put that in, and all of the stuff that has cooked down on the bottom of the pan is gonna cook up into that liquid. And we're going to start cooking out all of the flavor in all of these chicken bits that we have here. This is how we're going to turn this flavor into a beautiful French style sauce. This is also why the beeping function on the Kosori that lets me know when it's time to flip the chickens or the Cornish game hens or whatever is so helpful, because I'm paying attention to doing this. I have no idea what's going on behind me, but it'll let me know. Ways to make your tools work for you, you know?
We like that.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so while that's cooking, I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna chop up some garlic.
Oh, cool. Would you like to take maybe a question?
I would love to take some questions. I'm just gonna slice up garlic cloves while we do it.
Okay, cool. I guess they're more like recipe requests.
Sure.
But maybe you could help them and see if you have any ideas or
Yeah.
can figure something out. The first one is Eric Dean says, how about a ramen noodle soup recipe carnivore?
Working on that for sure. Now that I have the new pasta recipe where it is, I'm gonna start editing the ingredients of that, and I'm gonna see if I can come up with more of like a ramen style noodle that's a little bit chewier, and see what we can do for sure. And I can hear my Kosori is beeping at me, so we're gonna go flip the birds over. Careful how you say that, flip the bird. And here it is. Looking for my tongs. Okay. So you can see these are starting to cook. So now we're gonna come under here and just flip them over, because now we're gonna start browning the skin on top. Just like that. Oh, I can smell the rosemary in that too. It smells so great. Okay, and this Kosori just starts right back up where it was.
Awesome.
Okay, that's looking good. Cooking that flavor down, and we're gonna come back to our garlic.
Awesome. Crimson Woodworking says, can you please invent a replacement for popcorn? I really miss that texture and crunch.
You know, I actually had somebody who asked me a day or two ago about that. I have a couple of ideas. I am toying with it in my head, trying to think how I would make that texture happen and how I would make some acceptable flavor happen at the same time. But I'll see what I can do for you for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, some people are saying some other people in line have done certain things before in the past with things like pork rinds and whatnot. So there's that for the moment, but I'm sure eventually you'll figure it out. I believe in you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. I'm going to see what's out there. If I take the time to put something out, it's because I believe that it'll be better than the other options, but we'll see. I may not be able to, but I'm going to certainly try.
Scott S. Hunt has a question about your broth that you're cooking up over there on the stove.
Yep.
Why not put a lid over the broth as you are cooking it so you don't lose it from the steam? Wouldn't that increase your volume in the broth?
So I actually don't want the volume in the broth. What I want is the steaming action so that it starts to reduce, because I want to reduce down and concentrate that along with the tomato paste, because I'm actually going to let the natural collagen as it cooks out be what creates the thickness in it, because I'm not going to thicken it with anything else. So I need the collagen coming out of the skin and the bones to be what thickens it, and that's very difficult to adjust and figure out how much liquid I do or don't need if I put a lid on it and I keep it all in there. So what I'm going to do is cook it down, and if I feel like it's getting a little too dry, I'll actually add more water to it, but it gives me a lot more control to do it on that side of things than on the other side.
Awesome.
So that's why I do that. I'm going to put the garlic in with our sauce over here now.
Jennifer Getz says, first live, hi from Ohio.
Hello, Jennifer. I'm so glad you're here. My parents are up in that general direction. They live in Indiana, just across the border from Cincinnati. So, hello to the Buckeye State.
Yeah. Seesaw the M says, can I cook this chicken in the oven? Don't have an air fryer. You also hinted an ice cream recipe. When are you going to do that one?
Yes, so the ice cream recipe will be coming soon. I can't tell you when because then that would give away things I'm not allowed to talk about just yet, but it will be coming soon, probably early next week. And as far as an oven for this, yes, you absolutely can do this in an oven. I would say I've done roast chicken in a number of different ways. Probably my favorite was you do it at about 375 breast side down for 15 to 20 minutes, and then you turn it breast side up and you turn the oven up to 450 and you roast it until it's starting to get brown and crispy. But you also need to be temping it and be careful not to overcook it because you can very quickly dry it out in an oven that way. So be careful with that, but somewhere in that vein of 20-ish minutes breast side down, and then flip it over and turn the temperature up, and just keep an eye on the temperature of the thigh and the leg area to make sure you don't, massively overcook. But you should be able to do that quite well, and you can do exactly what I did with the spatchcocking and with brushing it with the bacon fat, the whole thing. You just need a roasting tray. It's the only difference.
Cool.
But that will absolutely work.
Awesome. Daryl says, new to the channel, love your content. Do you have a smoker or do any recipes with a pellet smoker?
Hello, Daryl. I'm so glad you're here. So here's the thing. My dad does a whole bunch of smoking type stuff like that. Unfortunately, where we live right now, we rent and we are not allowed to have grills and smokers. So I would love to do smoking. I would love to do grilling. I would love to do all of that. I'm just not allowed to where I live, and I don't have anywhere else that I can go and film right now. So unfortunately I can't. But if I could figure out a way to do it, I absolutely would, because smoking, especially the pellet smoker type thing, such a convenient and great way to get some amazing food. Okay, so you guys can see this is cooking down. Now can you see how this is it's getting a little thick where when I pull the spatula through it, it leaves like space behind it? That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to cook this down to get that collagen to thicken this all up. That's exactly what I want it to do. Now, if you wanted this to be more like a broth, to do like a soup, absolutely put a lid on it like we were talking about, and then you would retain a lot more of the liquid, and that would do exactly that for you.
Deborah says, your pasta recipes get more amazing with every new version. Do you think there will be one coming that could be used in a pasta machine?
I don't know. I would love to figure out how to make one of those. The problem with that, because I've had other people ask me too, and I'd love to be able to do that for people. The problem with that is that proteins react very differently than gluten. When you put gluten through a pasta machine, it stretches, it holds together. When you put it through the pasta cutter to cut it into noodles, it very easily cuts through because it stretches enough, and then the sharp edges can catch it and it can cut through. Proteins, when you try to squeeze them after they've been cooked, unfortunately, they tend to smash and break apart. And the issue is all of my pasta recipes before the proteins are cooked are a liquid or like a gooey texture, so there's no way to put that through the pasta machine. So I'm still working on a solution for that, but it's very, very difficult to get a pasta machine to work without gluten. Pasta machines were invented for gluten. So I don't know, we'll see. If there's a chance of doing it, I'm gonna try, but I don't know. So I'm putting in about a tablespoon of cream. It's just going to soften the flavor of this just a little bit.
Awesome. Laura M says, could you go to your dad's and do a smoking video?
I would love to be able to. Unfortunately, my parents live about 5 hours away. So getting the time scheduled to get up there when we do as many things as we do. Like I work 4 jobs. including running the YouTube channel, and I mean, that's like 100 to 120 hours a week, depending on the week. And so we don't generally get to travel much, and if we do, it's usually because we're touring and playing music. So I'd love to be able to get up there, and if I can, I would definitely do that for you guys. But it's, until I can afford to quit my day job, it's a little tough for us to get the time to do that kind of stuff. But I'd love to be able to.
Yeah. Rankin Cook has a question.
Yep.
Says, Chris, do you use butter in your sauce to make it smooth and thicken?
Ah, very good question. So there's no butter in this yet, but there is butter coming. So I used the bacon grease just to cook everything. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour all of this into a bowl that has a strainer in it here. See how thick this sauce is becoming? That's a combination of that tomato paste and the collagen and all of the fat from the chicken skin and the bones and everything else. That's why chefs do this way. Okay, so we're going to scrape that out and get all of the bits out. And so now basically all of this matter in here, the chunks and the bones and all this has given up the flavor. If you did this for a couple of hours, you might get some more flavor out of it, but you know, it's minimal at this point. So for a quick sauce, this will be good enough. We're gonna get all the flavor out of that, and then we're just gonna toss the actual chunks to get rid of those. And we're gonna just work with the liquid, and the butter is coming.
Rankin Cook is smart. He knows what's up.
He definitely is. That is so good.
Got a question on some ribeye for you.
Yeah.
From Deborah Jones. After making a ribeye, how long should it rest before cutting?
Well, that's a really interesting question, which I would say depends on how you cooked it. If you cook it in a skillet on a really high heat, or you cook it in a grill, you know, something like that, where it is really high intense heat, 3 to 5 minutes minimum. You know, probably not more than 10 because it will get cold on you. But 3 to 5 minutes is a good resting time, I find. Now, if you cooked it, say, sous vide, or you did some kind of a slow roast kind of a thing, like a reverse sear, you should not have to let it rest at all. You should be able to basically give it 30 seconds just to settle out, pour the juices back on top of it, cut it and go. So that's what I would say. Okay, so we're just gonna turn this heat down now on low. And we're gonna take our lovely juices here. Pour this back into our pan. And make sure you get it all, because we worked hard to get it in the first place. We don't want to wash it down the sink now. Okay, just like that. And I'm going to switch over to a whisk. Okay, so can you see the thick texture that we have now? This is what I'm looking for, this beautiful roasted, chickeny, dark flavor, and that caramelized tomato paste in there makes it even darker. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna set this off to the side because I don't want to overcook this right now. And we have 1 minute left on those Cornish game hens, and then I'll show you what we're gonna do over there to finish them. And by that time, this sauce will be ready to finish as well. While the sauce is sitting here too, I'm gonna go ahead and put in the last little remnants of my rosemary salt because it needs a little bit of seasoning anyway. So we'll put in our rosemary salt, just a little bit of it there.
Karen Perry wants to know, what kind of skillet are you using?
So this is a company called Imarku. They are actually linked in the description box down below. If you guys would like to go pick up a set, I have the set that my parents got me here for Christmas linked down below. They're absolutely fantastic. They're kind of a hybrid of non-stick and cast iron. So they're like a heavy bottom cast iron pan, but they have a non-stick coating, and it's really great. Really, really great. Okay.
Yeah, they're awesome.
So now you can see our beautiful Cornish game hens are starting to brown. Now, they're a little bit under browned, and I'm totally okay with that because we're gonna do one more thing to finish these. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make sure the leg portions now are pointed downwards to the best of my abilities, which can be kind of difficult to do without burning yourself. But you can already hear it's getting crispy. Okay.
It's a beautiful sound, by the way.
It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. Okay. See that crispy skin trying to come right off the breast meat there? Yeah. This is the only problem with the air fryer is it's a little small to do this and not burn yourself. There we go. Okay, so we're just gonna kind of stand them up just so the legs are pointed down and the breasts are up like that. This now goes back in. Maximum temperature for about 5 minutes.
Awesome.
There we go. This is a good time for cleanup time or any of these other things because we're not going to finish the sauce until the chicken or the Cornish game hen or whatever it is comes out. Because then what we do is we finish up the sauce, and as soon as you turn around from finishing the sauce, the chicken or the Cornish game hens will have rested and it's time to carve them. I'm not going to carve these because they're small, but if you were doing a whole roast chicken, that's when you would carve it and then your sauce would be ready to pour over top.
Awesome. Babe, while you're cleaning up,
Yep.
Do you want to just remind people that we do this every Tuesday?
Absolutely, absolutely. Guys, if you are new here or if you just maybe forgot, we do this every single Tuesday. This is Backstage with Chris. We do live cooking. I do recipes. I'm here to answer your questions. So if you have like keto or carnivore questions or recipe requests like I've been getting or any of that kind of stuff, or you want to know what's going on, and you just want to talk to us about our lives, it doesn't even have to be keto and carnivore. You can just get to know us and talk to us about who we are as people and all that kind of stuff. You guys come and hang out with us every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, so that's 7 o'clock Eastern.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then y'all hit the like and share it with all your friends.
Absolutely, that helps us so much, and we would love to be able to get to as many people as possible to help everybody that we can change the world with proper human diet stuff here, guys.
Sydney says, new to carnivore.
Okay.
I really miss crackers, eggs and tuna salad, sardines and mustard on top. Yum.
Yep.
Can you develop a recipe for crackers?
So that's a really good question. I actually have a concept that I am toying with, and if I can make it work the way I think I can make it work, I think that crackers just might be a reality. So I am definitely working on an idea to hopefully create crackers amongst other things. So that's a hard texture to get with keto and carnivore, but I'm going to certainly try. So yes, I will definitely see what I can do. And congrats on starting carnivore, by the way. Like that's a big step to take. Just the faith that it takes to say, yes, I want to give this a try. Like that's something you should be proud of. Like good for you for being willing to give it a shot.
Absolutely. I will say too, just because I eat everything that you make and taste test and all, for Halloween, babe, you did that one recipe. And
Yeah, where I did the baked Cheez-It style things.
Yeah, it's not like a normal cracker, but that recipe to me, when I tasted it, it gave Cheez-It kind of vibes. She may kind of be into that, at least
Yeah,
for the time being.
you might enjoy that as kind of a thing you can play around with in the meantime. So it's basically just cheese, like sliced cheese that you cut into squares. You know, cut a slice into like 4 squares, and you put it on a baking sheet with parchment paper, and you stick it in an oven. And I think it was like 375 or something like that. I'd have to go back and double check. It's if you go on my YouTube channel and you look at my videos, I did a Halloween series back in October, and it was the zombie eyeball appetizer that I did, and the little cracker things I put it on is the cheese cracker things I'm talking about, and those were super good. The appetizer was great too. I was bummed not many people watched my Halloween stuff because I thought they were great recipes, but you know, it is kind of a weird holiday, I get it, but those are super good, and you can totally use those cheese cracker things that I made there for, you know, a cracker-like substitute for now at least.
Yeah, they definitely, to me, gave me massive Cheez-It vibes, and I was not mad about that. They were
Different
delicious.
kinds of cheese, I'm sure, will give you different flavor profiles for that as well, so you can find something maybe you really like.
Moderation is Miss says, question, do you use Carnivore Crisp flour? If so, what other ways would you use it other than a flour coating?
Yeah, so I actually don't use Carnivore Crisp flour. I make my own. I have a video on my channel making my own homemade chicken flour, and it is way cheaper than buying Carnivore Crisps flour. I'm sure Carnivore Crisps is good. The flour is probably fine. It's just way too expensive for me to be willing to buy it. So I have a video on my channel of how you can make your own, and it's a wonderful, wonderful thing to have around. So I use it as a binder in things like my pastas and my like bread type stuff sometimes. You don't have to, but pretty much any of my pasta recipes, you could add a couple of tablespoons of it in with. You could add it into any of my bread recipes, a couple of tablespoons at a time, any of that kind of stuff. You don't have to in a lot of them, but you can, and it gives a nice texture. If that's something you like, it's a little bit of a greeny or firmer texture. So if you like more of a like a whole grain bread or a whole grain pasta, like texture, not flavor, but a texture, it sort of takes you a little bit in that direction. I'm actually working on coming up with some ideas recipe-wise for ways that we can use a lot more of the chicken flour. So hopefully I'll have a couple of recipe videos coming in the near future for that. But that's a really cool thing to make it yourself. It's way cheaper. Okay. So our game hens should be done. Yeah.
Look at those.
Beautiful. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pull those out. I don't want them to overcook or dry out, so I'm going to pull them out. I'm just going to set them on a plate and let them rest while we finish the sauce.
I can hear the crispy skin.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so we're just going to leave those there to rest for a minute. And in the meantime, we're going to come over here and finish up our sauce. So we're going to pull it back on the low, kind of medium-low heat. And get this heated back up. And now we're going to do a quick emulsification of butter and this sauce. So what I'm going to do, as you guys saw, I cut off. This is like less than a tablespoon. This is maybe 1/2 to 3/4 of a tablespoon of butter here. And so what I'm going to do is, this is just starting to heat up. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to break this up in just some little pieces like this. We don't want one big chunk. You want to get this in small pieces, and you can see it's starting to melt in there. That's perfect. Okay, so little squares. And then we're going to whisk this over this low heat. And that butter is going to start to emulsify in with the other liquid that is in there, and it will slightly thicken, and it'll give it this nice silky, silky texture, which is just beautiful. We can go ahead and turn off the heat because there's enough residual heat in the pan. Okay, so you can see it's kind of bubbling away there. So that's going to come back off the heat now, and we're just going to keep whisking this to kind of keep it from overdoing it. Like that. Grab another plate. Like so. Like so. Come over here.
Smells so good.
And that is the spatchcocked game hens with chicken jus.
And look who decided to peek her head in here.
Imagine
just as
that.
She played up the food.
Dinner,
what do you know?
Dinner is ready to be served, and suddenly the dog appears. Imagine that. I wonder how that happened.
Ready, ready, ready.
Oh yeah, she always is.
Babe, before we sit down and enjoy these amazing looking game hens, which everyone is drooling over, they look awesome.
Yeah.
I have a couple questions.
Absolutely.
Maybe we can just knock these out real quick.
Yeah, of course. Of course we have time.
Cool. So Laura M says, does Ash cook too? So I can clearly answer that for you, Laura. I can cook. I do not enjoy it though in any way, shape, or form. It honestly kind of stresses me out. So from time to time, I'll make us dinner or whatever. We make our dogs food, so I do that every week, and kind of around the holidays we'll make stuff for my siblings. But other than that, I just leave it up to this guy because even if I did enjoy cooking, I married him, and I don't know how to keep up with that. So I try not to, but I do the dishes every night.
She is very capable of cooking. She does not have near as much experience with various kinds of cooking like I do, which does make it a little bit more difficult sometimes on the fly. Like I just have a bunch of experience with stuff, so I can do things on the fly that maybe a lot of people might struggle with in the moment because I'm just used to doing this. She can cook. She just hates cooking, and that's totally fine because I love cooking and I hate doing dishes, but she actually finds that relaxing apparently. So long before she was ever doing dishes for me, she used to tell me how much she enjoyed just the relaxation of being able to just kind of do the dishes and focus on that. So
absolutely,
it works out well. We have good partnership that way.
Yeah. Beth Mahoney says, are you going to Keto Palooza this year?
Yeah, I hope we can. It's honestly, it comes down to just a matter of time and finances. Just can we work it into the schedule, and can we afford it? Because it's vacation money to go someplace like that, unfortunately. And trying to be independent artists and all the things we do with the YouTube channel and everything. Just have to be really careful about where we spend that money. So I would love to be able to go if we can. And hopefully we'll be able to work that out, and maybe we'll see you guys there if we can make it, for sure.
Yeah, we'll keep you posted. We're trying.
Definitely.
For sure. Let's see. Michael B. Great show Tuesdays. Let's see here. Deborah Jones says, I binge watch playlist of your recipes over the weekend. Was awesome.
Oh, thank you so much. We really appreciate that.
Yeah. Daryl says, I first heard of you from Dr. Barry. You both have a great show. Love to follow.
Thank you. Actually, if you guys are not a part of the tribe with Dr. Barry and Nisha, you should really consider that. It's only $5 a month. I'm a member there, and I actually did a live cooking thing like this in there for the first time the other day, and it looks like I'm going to be doing more of that, and it's going to be a special tribe members only thing. We're going to do some really cool stuff in there. So if you guys are interested in that kind of stuff and you want to support a couple of really great people that are doing amazing things to help people all around the world, you should definitely join up with their group.
Absolutely. Bruce says, just curious if this won't spoil the surprise, are you using your carnivore flour in your new pasta recipe?
I'm not in this pasta recipe. I'm going to be working on a different recipe that I'm actually going to be hopefully doing a jam session with somebody else on, that is going to feature very heavily chicken flour. So, but in this particular pasta recipe, I did not use any chicken flour.
Cool. Deborah Jones says, I'm no cook, so I really appreciate not only the recipes, but all the tips you include as well. Oh,
well, you're very welcome. I'm so glad that that's helpful. I mean, like, look, here's the thing, guys. The difference between me jumping in here and cooking live for you and throwing all this stuff together, and you sitting at home going, I don't know what to do, if you feel that way. The difference there is just the knowledge and the experience and the practice. And that's why I love doing this, because there's a little bit of a vibe sometimes in the keto and carnivore world that the best thing about keto and carnivore is that all the food is simple and you shouldn't have to put any effort into cooking. And on busy days, I totally get that. I think that's great. But I think sometimes you can miss out on the joy of life and just the fact that we can share amazing food with people that we love. And it's not that it has to be about the food, but food is very deeply rooted in our culture, and it means a lot when we can sit and break carnivore bread together with people that we love, and when it tastes good, it's that much easier to do. So these kinds of techniques make it so much easier, and I just enjoy sharing it with you guys so much.
Yeah. Babe, some people are asking, how would they join Dr. Barry's tribe? Do you know where they would go?
Yeah, so I'm trying to remember. I don't remember the web address exactly.
Could you put a link after?
I could definitely go and put a link down in the description for you guys. The other thing that I would say is if you go to any of Dr. Barry's videos on YouTube and you go to his description box, his community will be linked down there. It's like the PhD community, the Proper Human Diet tribe that he has. And it's a URL that is very similar to that. So I'll drop it into the link of this video, or in the description of this video, that link, because we're all talking about it. And I will definitely suggest, if you don't see it in this one and you want to go ahead and jump on it, go to any of his videos, go to the description box, and you can join up, and then shoot him a message and say that I sent you. So that way he realizes we're coming to support him, and I think that's super cool. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Last question that I think we're gonna take here before we go eat our birds.
Yeah.
Casey is saying, I'm struggling right now staying on track. I live in a hotel 4 nights a week for work. Any ideas for either pre-made stuff that will fit in a mini fridge or stuff I can microwave? Yeah.
So that's a really great question. So if you look at my cheeseburger casserole recipe, I think that reheats really well. So you can make a big one, cut it into portions, and just package them individually. That works really well. For breakfast on the go, I have some sous vide style egg bites that are done not with a sous vide, but they're meant to be like the sous vide egg bites you get at Starbucks. I have a recipe for those. I think they're actually better reheated in a microwave than they are fresh, personally. Those are fantastic. So you could make a whole bunch of those ahead of time. If you want quick, just easy grab and go, hard-boiled eggs was always my go-to. You know, like it's not necessarily the most satisfying on the run, but if you're just on the run and you just need something because you're hungry, nothing tastes better than a hard-boiled egg in that moment. I think there's probably a few other recipes I have.
Lasagna.
Oh, the lasagna. Yeah, I have a lasagna recipe. That reheats really well. And you could cut that into portions, like bake a big one and then cut it into portions. I also have a meatball recipe. The meatballs reheat really well. You could portion those out. And here's the deal. Once you get the pasta recipe that I'm about to release this coming Saturday, you could make some pasta, keep a portion of that because it does reheat. You could keep a portion of that and a portion of meatballs with sauce separate, heat both of them up, put them together, carnivore spaghetti and meatballs. Like, you know, and if you're doing keto or ketovore, you can do the tomato sauce version. And if not, then do like an Alfredo style sauce like I do. So there's a lot of different options like that. There's things you can do. Also the carnivore buns that I make, you could take like deli meat that's really easy to throw together in a sandwich, make some of those carnivore buns and just keep them in a plastic bag in the refrigerator and pre-cut, and you could take those out, build a deli sandwich and throw it into a bag, take it with you, and then eat it when it comes to room temperature. So there's a few ideas, but yeah, that's a great question. That's something that you definitely have to figure out sometimes. And good on you for trying to figure out how to do that living in a hotel 4 days out of the week. I mean, that's hardcore to, you know, have to do that regularly week after week, but it sounds like to me you're doing a great job trying to find the solution. So good for you.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Awesome. Some people are kind of asking a couple questions. Could you just go through kind of what videos you have coming out here and all the reminders? Yeah,
so I have a live stream on Friday I'm doing with Cindy DeManch. If you guys don't know her, she is in the Dr. Barry group, and she's on my channel from time to time, and she works with Keto Chow from time to time. She's kind of just, you'll see her name everywhere. And we're doing a Q&A on Friday at 6:30 Eastern, I believe it is. I got to double check, but it's on my channel and on her channel as well. And then Saturday we have the pasta recipe coming out. And then this early next week, I think, is when the ice cream recipe is coming out, probably like Monday. So keep an eye out for that. That's a carnivore ice cream base. And then I made a keto ice cream with it, but you will be able to do it keto or carnivore depending on, you know, how you mix things into it, but the base itself is carnivore. That's coming out, and then we're working on a couple of other recipes. coming up. In fact, tomorrow I'm going to be doing another recipe, which I won't tell you guys just what it is yet, but we're going to be doing a really cool one. There'll be the carnivore recipe for the following Saturday. That's going to be really, really good. I'm also working on a new video with Victor that's going to be over on his channel at Southern Keto, and he's going to do a keto version and I'm going to do a carnivore version, just like we did with the manicotti. But it's only going to be on his channel. So if you guys want to see my carnivore version of that when it comes out, you'll have to go over to Victor's channel, and he's just a good dude. So just go subscribe to him if you haven't, and that way you can see not only our video together, but all of the great stuff that he's putting out too. Yeah, so I think for the most part, that's everything that we know for sure right now. I'm working on other recipes and different things as well. All of my links are down below, my Patreon and my YouTube members. Those are the band. Those are the people that keep us alive and keep us afloat here doing this. We appreciate you guys. Any of you are welcome to join anytime. We'd love to have you. I have a Keto Chow link down there if you want to go try the salty, or if you want to get some Keto Chow packets. They have a bunch of great products. I have an Amazon shop. You can click on the link to any of the products I have linked, or just to my Amazon shop, and that will track the fact that you clicked it. Anything that you buy on Amazon within 24 hours of you clicking that link gives me a small commission. That's a really cool way if you want to just help support the channel and you buy stuff on Amazon. You can just click one of my links, sign in, and then you can go buy whatever it is you need on Amazon. It doesn't even have to be the stuff I've linked. That's a really cool way. And then there's some Dalstrong links down there. There's gonna be, the video has the link to the sous vide station over there from Tyfer. That's super cool. So that's kind of all of our stuff. And more than anything, we just appreciate you guys being here. Like, share, and subscribe as always. And don't forget, we do this every Tuesday. So come back and see what we're cooking next week, because we love hanging out with you guys. Bring your questions and we'll see what we can do. So any final thoughts or questions before we let them go today?
No, sir. I don't believe so.
Okay. All right. Well, guys, we love you very much. We thank you so much for being here and hanging out with us. You mean the world to us, and we appreciate you. We are going to go eat these incredible birds. I don't even have to taste one to tell you they're great, because I do them all the time for us. So go make these and just have fun cooking, doing keto and carnivore meals like this. Take care of yourself, take care of your families. Use this to help change the world, and we're always here if you need us. So thank you for watching. This is Chris Cooking Nashville. My lovely wife, Ash Taylor, behind the camera over there. Guys, make sure to eat your meat, especially when it's like a game hen. Love your life, and we'll see you right here in the kitchen backstage for more recipes.